keeps rolling on.
Italy, the United Kingdom, and Germany. Three countries that were paramount to the birth and success of early Eurovision. Three countries that were knocking at the door for a seat at the winner's table. And three countries that at the moment blew the house down, owning the three most dominant and lopsided victories at the competition, which were all their first. For Italy, it led to the awkward, a bit hostile, yet legendary introduction of France, Gaul, and Naples. For the UK, it led to a near fracture at this contest, but had one of the greatest two-horse races seen yet in London. For Germany, it would lead to Munich, 83. It's not like Munich was a bad contest, and it was certainly the best ESC held in West Germany, which isn't that much of a high bar in retrospect. The last one was in 1957, and it was definitely the least problematic event held in Munich in the last decade. It's just that this was such an aggressively average Eurovision. There are great things about it, or should I say, there were great things that would come from this contest.
Because Munich 83 is one of those Eurovisions that doesn't necessarily feel important while you're watching it, but becomes more interesting the further you look ahead.
For one, starting from this edition, we would never again, as of 2026, have 18 or less countries at the Grand Prix. That's a bit of a monkey's paw, but I digress. 20 nations are here, including the returns of Greece, France with a new broadcaster, and Italy! It seems like the RAI wanted to give this ESC thing another shot. Maybe now there will be renewed interest in the nation, and Italy would be a permanent fixture at the concours for years to come. Well, even if it wasn't heavy foreshadowing, the contest would open up new horizons in the Pacific, as it was broadcast in Australia for the very first time. Modern day fans know what this would lead to, but safe to say, Australians would become frenetic about this competition, a whole lot more than Italy. Now that we have 20... Wait a minute. Shouldn't this be 21? Because we had 18 last year. We had 3 more joining this year. Hold on, let me look into this. Oh, for crying out loud. It looks like due to industrial action and a tight budget, Ireland would not be present at the Grand Prix. Shame, because for the first time since '61, all the contestants would be introduced in a sort of parade of nations, an idea so modern it wouldn't be used again until Eurovision was broadcasted in HD. Host Maureen Sherrill would name the contestants in song order in German, English, and French.
Finland.
She would then welcome us to the evening in German, English, French.
Meine Damen und Herren, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, mesdames et messieurs, bonsoir.
To introduce each song, instead of a postcard doing it, we would just have the name of the entry displayed in front of us. This was elongated to aid the commentators introducing them back home, before Mrs. Sherrill would then name the country, song, artist, author, composer, and conductor, all in German, then English, then French.
Der Dirigent, the conductor, le chef d'orchestre, François Robert.
And because why not, during the voting sequence, she would say all the points in English, French, and German.
Say it?
No, 4 points.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood. Belgium, 4 points. La Belgique, 4 points. Belgien, 4 Punkte.
Needless to say, this contest went on for a very, very, very long time. Over 3 hours in 1983. That's almost as bad as it being over 3 hours in 1979, which was the last time a host wanted to be unique and say everything in 3 languages. Well, at least the songs made the runtime worth it, right? Right?
En présence d'un huissier.
Why does she speak in French in a husky voice and in English and German very loudly?
Vivre encore un jour, vivre.
This season of Eurovision features a lot of reruns or setups. For France, it's the former, Guy Bonnet returns 13 years after he debuted in Amsterdam, and 13 years later,
It's basically the exact same performance, exact same type of song.
the exact same piano. Heck, I can insert his 1970 performance in here and you wouldn't even notice. Who says that this was 1970 in the first place?
Les auteurs Herodes Falks und Jan Teigen.
For Norway, this isn't just a rerun, it's a rerun. I just talked about Jan Teigen in 1982 and how he already performed in 1979. And guess who's also here? It's Anita Skorgan, who's like right there, who's been here even longer than him.
At this point, Norway isn't entering Eurovision. They're just checking who from their previous submissions is still available.
The performers, les interprètes, Sweet Dreams.
The UK is no stranger when it comes to recycling ideas, and I'm almost impressed at how shameless it is. People quite literally say that Sweet Dreams is Bucks Fizz 2.0, which I disagree with. It's Bucks Fizz 3.0, though the parallels are more direct than last year.
The band was assembled specifically for Eurovision.
And they're also using the same dance moves,
Similar visual presentation,
same color palette.
similar everything.
You know, at least this represents some of the good parts of the 80s.
Die Sängerin, the performing artist, l'interprète Carola Häggkvist.
Okay, this isn't a rerun. It's a birth, and a big one in fact. Miss Carola Häggkvist, who was only 17 at the time, burst onto the Swedish scene with Främling, the song which would become the title track of her first album, which would sell over 1 million copies, making it one of the biggest in Sweden's history. Carola would become a big deal in her native land and across the world, making a living from high-energy love songs with big high-energy voice.
And in front of the largest Swedish audience ever recorded for Eurovision at this point, she would achieve Sweden's best finish since a certain
ABBA in 1974. Do you hear that? There's Nordic prosperity knocking at the door.
Per Lucia, lunga vita e acqua di fiume.
For Italy's return, they come with a man who hit his peak during this time frame. Riccardo Fogli was immensely popular in the west of Europe and in the east in the Soviet Union, Japan. So you assume that he and his song would do well at Eurovision. I mean, 11th isn't that bad. It could be worse. Could have been Turkey. Or Spain. Sometimes going a more unique route doesn't bear fruits.
Dirigent, the conductor, le chef d'orchestre, Ossi Roné.
It's not indeed Ossi Rooney at all, it's Ossi Runner. And he's conducted for 17 years now. Get the poor old soul's name right.
Und die Sängerin, the performer, interprète, Ami Aspelsund.
Oh, Ami Aspelund.
I knew this name sounded familiar. Ami Aspelund is the younger sister of Monica Aspelund, who participated for Finland in ESC in 1977.
So apparently Eurovision is also a family business.
I also included this act for the pronunciation of her name. Well, Christy Stasinopoulou is a known international singer. She's been compared to Bjork. I know Bjork. She's cool. She made her debut as a singer in the Greek version of Jesus Christ Superstar. It's not the first time I mentioned this play, actually. In the role of Mary Magdalene, which isn't the first time I mentioned that name. She, okay. You know what? In 1977, I thought I would talk about Greece a lot more than this.
Der Interpret schrieb auch die Musik. The performer wrote also the music. L'interprète a également écrit la musique. Daniel.
Znao sam samo o njoj da zove se Julie.
Yugoslavia 2.0. Yugoslavia 2.0. Yugoslavian 2.0. Oh my god, we finally have made it to my favorite Yugoslav entry and the payoff for all those mentions of Yugoslavia 2.0. And it came from a Montenegrin, Croatian, Slovenian pop singer. Yugoslavia free. Though, for classification purposes, this is a product of Croatia, as he won the right to be here as a representative of TV Zagreb. This song is a bop, simply put, and it's probably the song most associated with Yugoslavia's ESC history. It's either this one or like two others, but that will require me to address the increasingly growing elephant in the room, so I'm gonna be moving on. Of course, rightly so, they would achieve their best finish yet, and it would become a top 10 hit in many European nations.
And for once, all this build-up was worth it.
I like Cyprus. That is all.
Und die Interpreten, the performers, les interprètes.
Und Vorsicht, dass man den anderen nicht zerbricht.
Hoffman and Hoffman were a singing company of two brothers, Michael and Gunther.
Singing in key.
They had some success
They had some hits,
during this period.
but they were lean.
Their time in the spotlight wouldn't last particularly long.
They didn't make it far in the music scene
Rungsik would be their Eurovision summit.
before their career took a plummet.
Michael would later produce music,
To put you at peace,
while Gunther would tragically die in Rio in 1984.
poor fellow, rest in peace.
The performing artist, interprété par Ofra Haza.
As I said, this group has impressed enormously in rehearsals. I think it's rather like the other Israeli entries, but it has a terrific vivacity. High.
Because these two countries seem to like doing things in pairs, for the second video in a row, I'm doing Israel and Germany back to back. And for the second video in a row, quite surprised at the quality of Israel's entry. Though after reading about our singer, I shouldn't have been. Ofra Haza is the biggest name to come out of ESC 83. The Madonna of the East, as she would be known as, was immensely popular in the Americas and Europe, her voice featuring in several movies, like The Prince of Egypt, and sampled by several notable rappers in the 90s and beyond. Simply put, she is one of Israel's greatest exports. Now, I haven't even gotten to the song, which is significant in itself.
High means alive. It's a song about surviving despite hardship and passing that message from one generation to the next. And look, I don't have to spell out the emotional and historical implications of Israel performing a song called High in Germany in 1983. I don't have to explain why the song's message would resonate so strongly with many people. And I certainly don't need to tell you what a victory would have meant for Ofra Haza. It all speaks for itself.
Man, rip Ofra. But like last time, is this the best song of the night? Well, I mean, it's actually pretty close this time. It had to compete with such powerhouses like Belgium here, with such a bold, daring song, with such an avant-garde vision. You know, that was mostly a joke, like the song. But the more I think about it, there's a case to be had that this was too ahead of its time. Kinda like with 1980.
Think about it. The song repeats the same lyric over and over. The performance is strange. The entire thing feels almost intentionally anti-Eurovision, kinda like 1980. And that's exactly why it bombs. But try this again in say 20 years from now, it would probably be seen as very charming. Heck, it might even finish top 3. Could even win if you played your cards right.
Was Belgium really ahead of the curve? Maybe I underestimated them. Anyway, obviously this wasn't the song I was talking about. It's this one.
La chanson finale de notre concours Eurovision de la chanson nous vient de Luxembourg. Und es singt Performing Artist interprété par Corinne Hermes.
Corinne Hermes with a backing group of 5. Si la vie est cadeau. If life is a gift.
What was seen as the favorite to take home the crown was a rerun of a former time where dramatic French chansons ruled the ESC stage. Luxembourg were one of the flag bearers of that time, as their formula granted the tiny nation 4 ESC titles, with the last triumph being about 10 years ago. Coming off the back of that other Munich event, our big chanson singer this time is Corinne Hermes, singing of life being a gift, enjoying the good moments, however brief, and all that dramatic Frenchy stuff. It's nothing out of the ordinary, because it's something that we've seen many times. But while this song is typical, several other things around it aren't so much.
For one, this song was considered a joke by many, meaning that despite its vast chasm of popularity, reputation, and style between this entry and Belgium's,
they both end up as two sides
of the same coin. In Belgium national final, many scoffed or jeered at the song when it received points. People walked out when it was performed. And then Luxembourg experienced a remarkably similar reaction tonight.
Pas de 2, 10. Dat geeft een totaaluitslag met 67 punten.
And Luxembourg.
Hey, he certainly milked that one.
The difference?
Belgium got 18th.
And Luxembourg were the contender to win it all. And then there's one of my favorite pieces of completely unnecessary Eurovision trivia.
You see, one of the labels of Si la vie est cadeau was Sabin Records. I was like, that's funny, I swear I've heard of that before, and did some digging. It turns out that I pronounced that name wrong. It's not Sabin, it's Saban, like I'm Saban, like... which he would leave Corinne Hermes to eventually make 10 years after ESC 83. You know, it makes sense. Corinne is the Pink Ranger, Marine is the Red Ranger, Vicky the Black Ranger, Francois was the Yellow Ranger, that's the hair, and Jean-Claude is that rainbow one from Jacques. I do love my deep cuts. The Interval Acts was also a nice export from this year, but the voting sequence takes like an hour to get through, so I'm just gonna go through that now. Of course, most of the longest voting sequences were the most exciting ones, though due to previously mentioned statements, this one lost a lot of excitement.
Not because the race is boring, but because every point has to be announced in 3 languages.
Whose idea was this? Why? 3 hours. 3 in 1983. There's no reason to have a show this long. There's no reason. There's no reason. 5 of the
12 points.
5 of the I can't even get through this, bro.
5 of the eventual top 6 will receive a 12 to start the proceedings, immediately creating a fascinating top group.
I would love to go through this country by country.
Israël, 7 points.
Israël, 7 points. Israël, 8 points. Israël, 7 points. Pardon, j'ai mal compris.
Let's just fast forward, shall we?
Luxembourg, 1 point.
Amazing. Amazing.
Sweden, 3 points.
Sweden,
It really
3
is
points.
a great puzzle.
La Suède, 3 points.
Yugoslavia, 7 points.
Yugoslavia, 7 points.
Germany, 10 points.
Germany haven't got any marks for some time, and it brings them back into the game now.
And Israel, 12 points.
Israel, 12 points.
It would be a brave
Israel,
man who's going to
12
predict who'll win this contest.
And finally, Luxembourg,
The Dutch
Went
vote
to
would
Luxembourg.
fully establish the top 5
Of
of
course, that was
Luxembourg,
the
Sweden,
Yugoslavian jury,
Yugoslavia,
and of
Israel,
course,
and Germany.
they
One of
hardly
these
vote for
countries would
themselves.
win. We're just gonna have to take some detours to
12
get
points.
there.
Luxembourg, 8 points. Luxembourg, 8 points. Luxembourg, 8 Punkte.
Israel, 10 points.
Israel, 10 points. Israel, 10 points. Israel, 10 Punkte.
And Sweden, 12 points.
Even though you could classify this as a four-way race, this one was more Luxembourg's to lose.
Sweden, 10 points.
Sweden, 10 points. La Suède, 10 points. Schweden, 10 Punkte.
And finally, Yugoslavia, 12 points.
Oh, that's Yugoslavia back in the game. It's extraordinary that one jury can give a
Yugoslavia,
country no
12
votes
points.
whatsoever.
Yugoslavia.
Luxembourg, 12
Well, hey, he certainly milked that one.
Luxembourg, 12 points.
And while it's still mathematically possible for someone to catch Luxembourg, one more good vote would seal the deal, or should I say the gift, for the Grand Duchy.
It can only be Sweden
Germany, 6
or
points.
Luxembourg.
Al-
Our reckoning
Norway,
is that Luxembourg
7
needs 6
points.
more points wherever they get them from. They must
7
get them from
points.
Belgium to win.
Norwegen, 7 Punkte.
Luxembourg, 8 points.
I think they've won. Luxembourg
Luxembourg,
have won on that 8 points from
points.
Belgium. She doesn't know it yet, but she has won the
8
Eurovision
points.
Song Contest.
Luxembourg, 8 Punkte.
That's it. Victory number 5, making Luxembourg the second to reach this milestone.
But there's something fascinating about this victory. France's fifth win had represented something of a grand finale for the French chanson era.
Luxembourg's would merely be a rehashing of the glory years.
At this point, a French language song has won the contest 12 out of 28 times. That's roughly 43% of Eurovision's history.
From this point forward, a French song would win the Grand Prix just 2 more times until modern day. Both would be in the next 5 years.
I've said that the 80s was a dogfight for the direction of ESE, and with Luxembourg's victory in 1983, we get a pretty good indication of where that fight is heading. The old guard can still win. The French chanson can still win. Luxembourg can still win. But the Eurovision that produced France, Luxembourg, and all those grand dramatic chansons is disappearing fast. And strangely enough, Belgium will end up having more of a say in Eurovision's future than any of them. And they haven't even won. Yet.